I'm Mike at it. I was thinking about what was just read, and there is a difference between having character and being a character. And these steps have enabled me to see that in the past, whatever my motives I thought I had, I was more of a character and had less character than I thought I did. But character is not just something that happens instantaneously from a prayer. I think a lot of it is going through these motions. Somebody said a while ago, I'm just acting as if I don't even know if I mean these things. But there's been phrases that have been bannered around since I got here. Act as if. They used to say, fake it till you make it. I mean, in the military, they train you to do things. And you may see little benefit in it. But the benefit is that in that moment that you need it, the training does kick in. And the one sure way to remove the defects, and if we're talking about 10, but we're also talking about something newcomers can do from the very beginning, is practice the opposite. If I've got fear, I need to pray to God to face my fears. And some people in the other side of the room have talked about fears, talking about to a family member that there's fear there to do it. But contemplation about the best course of action is always going to end in a better result rather than rushing out headlong, half-assed, half-cocked without even thinking about it. If I've got dishonesty problems, I need to practice honesty. And everybody always has that first instance that they go in a store and old girl gives you too much change, and they come in a meeting and they share about how they gave the money back. Well, you know what? That's good. That's the first instance. But the kind of honest dishonesty we've been talking about mostly in here is dishonesty with myself about these hidden motives that I'm not even aware is there, and I'm not even aware that I'm as fucked up as I am when I get here. So I've got to come to grips with the fact that I've been dishonest with myself. It's less about cash register honesty as far as what these steps are talking about. And, if I'm selfish, I've got to try to do something for somebody else. And maybe it's not somebody in the beginning. Maybe it's coming in here on Sunday, like Carrie was talking about the other night, and mopping this floor. Maybe it's picking up some cigarette butts after the meeting, or a cup as you're driving out of the parking lot and you see it laying there. Sure, you could drive by. Somebody else would probably do it. I used to drive by them on purpose. It's job security. Somebody keeps a job because I didn't pick that up. I can damn near rationalize anything. But you can see how that rationalization sounds kind of messed up. I like how it's talked about a balance sheet. That if I constantly am saying I'm flawed, I did this bad deal, without saying I did anything good, can get tiresome, and I can get this idea that there's no good. But the fine line that I have to work on is being careful about false pride, because I think a lot of times pride in recovery gets a bad rap. We throw the word pride out as if all pride is bad. Every form of pride is bad, when we know that can't be true. We take pride in a job well done, pride in our children, they made an A on something, whatever, pride that I finished that degree, or I'm going back, or I've got my fucking license back in recovery. I mean, these things that regular people think are no big deal, to us are huge in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with taking pride in those things. It's the false pride that I got to worry about. It's the shit that ain't real. So I wanted to focus on that just for a moment, because there is two kinds of pride. And so when the book talks about pride, it ain't all pride. Because, see, my disease can hear, oh, well, the good part of pride is also bad. So I should have nothing good. So I should strive for nothing good. So I can't have any pride. And that shit is going nowhere. That shit is going nowhere. So, and differentiating the true from the false is absolutely crucial in that regard. So it talks about it in the fourth step in this same book. It's only when a newcomer can objectively look at himself is he enabled to fearlessly rather than fearfully look at this inventory and see, and some people have already mentioned the difference between objectively and subjectively. I think it was the little fellow with the glasses. He talked about, I look at through the vision of what I want, through the vision of how it affects me. That's subjectively. But see, the ability to step back and say, what's really going on? Fuck my feelings. How is this really going on? You know, and sometimes I need to bounce it off other people to see objectively, because I can't see because I'm so subjectively fettered or chained to the shit. That's why it's important in recovery to have accountability partners, the ones that will tell me the truth, as opposed to bullshit cosigners. Those are easy to find. You can probably find them in the next room over, you know. So accountability partners generally are going to be somebody in recovery that you respect, not somebody who's in the bed next to you at the halfway house. You know, so I got to be careful who I'm looking to for my advice. And it is, and finally, we're almost done. So finally, it is the challenges that we go through in recovery that gauge how well I'm doing. Because if every day was a sunny day, I wouldn't know what or appreciate what a sunny day was. So when it says touchstone is the spiritual progress, touchstone is the spiritual progress. A good story about what a touchstone is when you go to a pawn shop and you pawn something. If you've ever pawned some jewelry, you notice he rubs it on something to see if it's real or not. That thing he rubs it on is called a touchstone. And the reason Bill in this book talks about touchstone, pain is the touchstone of spiritual progress, is that it's going through challenges and coming out sober that shows you the mettle of your recovery. Because until some challenge, you don't really know what the fuck is going on. You could say, oh, it's all great, but I ain't had a rainy day yet. So it's not that I look forward to challenges in recovery, but it's the challenges in recovery. And then when I'm on the other side of them and I say, you know what, I made it through sober with God's help, that begins to build a past in recovery of successes as opposed to failures. That tells me the next time this challenge comes up that I made it the last time, I think I can make it this time. I believe that that's what he was driving at. It just took me to understand what in the hell is a touchstone. To see a lot of these words in the book, I'll read right past them as if I think I know, or I want people to think I know what they mean. But I have found that a dictionary in here is very helpful, because I did not know what a touchstone was till I looked it up. And this was years ago for me, but I've already seen some lights go on when I said it. They go, oh, really? Cool. And it is fucking cool. When I find out what's really being talked about in this book sometimes, it's fucking cool. And I need to own the fact that I think it's cool. Because when I get excited about recovery, I'm more liable to stay in it. And for me, that's the goal. I've had a spiritual awakening in these all three steps, and I'll pass. Thanks.